seeing at a later time.
You like that idea?
The magic of Disney animation. That looks good. And we go to the backstage tour. And these are the buses we're going to be on. And it should be really fun.
Many of you are probably familiar with it already. It's where the newest animated featurettes starring classic Disney characters are currently being drawn. If you haven't seen it yet, go see it. It's a great show. Right now they're working on Roller Coaster Rabbit. That's the newest animated short. It stars Roger Rabbit. And you can see it while it's being drawn. It'll be out around Christmas time. You can say, I saw that when it was being drawn. It really impresses friends and family. Take photos and videos, go right ahead. You can take as many as you want. Unless, of course, you run into a working production area, and then it may not be allowed. But don't worry, Aunt Margot will let you know if that happens. If you take a look over to your right and high in the sky, you're going to see the symbol of the Disney MGM Studios. That's our award-winning Earful Tower, which stands exactly 13 stories tall. And it's capped off by two gigantic mouse ears, which weigh 16 tons. In case you're wondering, the cap size is 342 and 3/8. Over to your left are our bungalow buildings. These are the homes to all the production crews that are currently filming or taping here at the studios. Bungalow number 3 is the home to the all-new Mickey Mouse Club. You'll get a good behind-the-scenes look at the Mouse Club on part 2 of your tour. And it does show weekdays on the Disney Channel.
5:30.
Next, we're going through our greens department. This is where we keep all of our plants, trees, and shrubs until they're needed on the set. Greenery is usually used to hide what the camera's not supposed to see. For example, we can use a large row of those trees back there to hide the fact that only part of the set was actually built. And if you look down, you'll notice that they're all in portable boxes. That's so they can be easily transported onto the set. And once they are transported onto the set, each branch, leaf, and twig has to be carefully fireproofed. And believe it or not, even our greens department has its own cast of characters with its topiaries. Those topiaries take 10 years to fully develop. Pete's Dragon, the largest one, has only been growing since '81, so he's got a little bit longer to go. Gives you a good idea on how they're actually formed, though. Next, we're going into one of our most glamorous departments, and that's costuming. Here in costuming, we have over 180 artists who design and produce our costumes for our motion picture, television, and entertainment needs. You'll also see original costumes worn by Bette Midler in Big Business, Warren Beatty and Dick Tracy, Julie Andrews and Mary Poppins. This dress is 25 years old. Michael Jackson and Captain EO that shows over at Epcot Center. And the co-stars of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Here in costuming, it all begins with the designer sketches that you can see along the far wall. From there, the seamstresses and tailors take over, and they use over 175,000 yards of fabric each year. And with over 2.25 million garments, we are the largest working wardrobe in the entire world, right here in Florida. Next is our lighting department, where we keep all of this equipment until it's needed on the set. With over 3.5 million watts of power that we can supply, we can light up the entire city of Orlando. Beyond that is our smaller props department. Looks like Roger's been here. And you can find props anywhere, from garage sales to antique stores to flea markets. You can't find it, just build it in a scenic shop. And then we have the camera department, where we keep all the film and video equipment until it's needed on the set. The last thing you're going to see is our scenic shop, where carpenters begin construction on sets, later finished on sound stages. These guys in here can build just about anything, from a 40-foot submarine that was used for a rock video to a gigantic turntable that they use on the Mickey Mouse Club. Now, speaking of the Mouse Club, that's a set that's used over and over again. It's referred to in the business as a standing set. Now, standing sets can be as simple as a bedroom or elaborate as an entire house. Now, coming up, you're going to see some pretty unusual houses. When production crews film or tape on location, they have to put up with all different types of problems, like crowds, traffic, and noise. Now, to get around that, a lot of times they just prefer to shoot on the studio backlot. This is our own residential street. So if you're thinking about moving into this neighborhood, you better think twice. These homes are just facades, as you'll see with the house on your right. And even though they look like they get a little drafty, you can control just about anything, even the weather here. For example, we recently used this for an Isotoner Christmas commercial. They had the, what? Oh, you guys, Herbie, the love bug. Come up, say hi. Hi, buddy, how you doing? Herbie is parked in front of the house that was used in the movie Ernest Saves Christmas. Herbie, one and active. That little first house that we passed by, and before Herbie came up to say hi. It was used in a Christmas commercial in the middle of August. They had the entire place decked out for Christmas. Had hand-picked some of the leaves off of the tree, and actually put 5 inches of real snow on the ground in the middle of August. One of the main things you can control. By the way, over to your left, this beige house may look a little familiar to you. Every Saturday night, it's the home of Estelle Getty, E. Arthur, Rue McClanahan, Betty White, the Golden Girls. The exterior footage is shot here and then is edited in later, with the interior footage which is shot indoors on the soundstage. Once the house is chosen for a shoot, the next thing to do is get the production designers and set dressers out and put the finishing details, like this last house here on your left has the big wheel to bite the frisbee. Little things like that really make a big difference when you shoot on a back lot. Now the only thing missing there is the swing set, which is conveniently located across the street in our residential street playground. It all fits together. By the way, that blue house you'll be seeing in a Coca-Cola commercial that's going to be coming up pretty soon. And all of these homes were recently showcased in a Better Homes and Gardens commercial. So you'll see them all when you go home, and you can impress friends and family by saying, yeah, I was there. Coming up, you're going to see the urban counterpart to residential street, but we'll be chatting about that in just a few minutes. How's everybody doing back there? Hey, what's up? I see you around the corner. Now, even though we build a lot on the back lot, sometimes we leave places as is. For example, this small wooded area over to the left with just the right camera angles and lighting, you can make it look like a small wooded area. Over to your right is what's known as our boneyard. This place is really neat. Love coming back here. It changes all the time. This is where we keep some of the different props that we've used in previous productions. For example, we have the back half of the plane of Casablanca. The front half is over in the Great Movie Ride. We also have the blue car that was Eddie Valiant's in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Now, this was after Roger got his hands on it. Never let a tune drive your car, ladies and gentlemen. And also we have the train cap from Tough Guys, number 4449, starred Kirk Douglas and Burt Lancaster. The snow speeder from The Empire Strikes Back. A sand skiff from Return of the Jedi, that's where Billy D. Williams and Harrison Ford escaped the ominous sandpit monster. A space pilot from Flight of the Navigator, that was a Disney film. Wonder Woman's invisible jet, get some good pictures of that. Now you can see the kill boat. As we move down the street, you can see the front of the house that was on residential street, and you can see the back sides of the houses and see how they're actually constructed. These houses were made so that you can alter their appearance at any time. They can get a quick coat of paint, and instead of using nails, they use screws so you can change the appearance of it within a matter of hours. And now you can get a good behind-the-scenes look at Residential Street. Notice how the architectural details, they just stop right beyond camera range. That's because basically we only need to build what the camera needs to see. Now sometimes on the back lot we need to build something that the camera can't see or find in the area. For example, where would you go in Central Florida if you needed to shoot on an active oil field in a rocky, dry, barren desert canyon prone to flash floods? Well, you got me, and I've been a Central Floridian for some time. So what did our nutty production designers do? They built a set like that right here for a movie called Catastrophe Canyon. Normally we wouldn't be allowed to go in on closed sets like these because, especially with this movie, the special effects were just far too dangerous. But today they're just shooting the rain sequence, and it just so happens that Doug is real good friends with the uncle whose father's neighbor knows the director personally. And really, it's not what you know, but who you know that gets you into sets like this. So we're going to go on in and take a peek, and I'll tell you a little bit more about a standing set. This set was modeled after one real canyon out in California. Although the equipment that you see, the oil equipment and the tanker are real. We have quite a time getting some of that stuff in here because of how heavy it is. For example, that tanker weighs over 3 tons. They had to hoist it in by use of a crane and actually reinforce the bottom. Hopefully they secured it and it doesn't look too safe up there. Okay, right now you may want to hold on to your camera equipment, small children or somebody you've met on the tour that you've grown quite fond of. And please remain seated at all times because you never know what can happen. On the Backlot you can recreate anything, even the weather. For this movie we needed a real downpour. Since time is money in movie making, you can't always wait on Mother Nature. For example, the rain sequence. Then the sky that are out in the rain. Okay, we're ready to go here. Oh my God. Thanks for coming up with the director. We're on the wall. Isn't really made of stone, it's made out of a steel structure with a cement skin that's hand carved to look like the real thing. You also see the network of little yellow pipes that carried all the gas to the explosions that you saw. Now right beyond the little yellow pipes, you'll see the big white pipes. That carried all the water to that flash flood. Did anybody miss that flash flood? No? Okay. Well, that's why it was created when we opened up the gates to water tanks up top that hold 70,000 gallons of water. Some of that water went down to air cannons. They're a special effect that shoots the water at you, makes it look like it's bouncing off the rocks. Those air cannons can take 275 gallons of water and shoot that water up to 100 feet. To give you an idea how powerful that is, if you were to take a basketball and put it in one of the air cans, you could shoot it over the top of the Empire State Building. Now to give you an idea how powerful that is, that's almost as powerful as light today. That's mind-boggling. As you leave, you'll see pumps 1 and 2. That recycles that entire set so that another shuttle load of visitors can actually go in and see the same show 3.5 minutes after we saw it. Catastrophe Canyon was created with the help of a Hollywood special effects team. What seemed like an out-of-control disaster was actually a very safe, computerized sequence of events. It's being in complete control that makes shooting on a backlot so absolutely perfect for motion picture and television production. In fact, Walt Disney World South can be used as one giant backlot. Many times production crews like to use our theme parks, our hotels, and even the World Showcase to make it look like an overseas location. Okay, that's one shuttle. Here comes another shuttle. Let's just act like absolutely nothing happened. For you New Yorkers on board, you're going to feel right at home in a minute. We're going to New York Street, our own slice of the Big Apple. Get your cameras ready over your right-hand shoulder through this archway. Makes a real good shot. Now take a look at the forced perspective down at the end of the street. Notice how its appearance changes as we go closer down the street. Our production designers spent over a year and a half designing and producing this street for good reason. Even though these look like real buildings, they're not. They're just facades like on our own residential street. But what's really amazing is the fact that even though this looks like real brick, concrete, and stonework, it's not. This entire street is made of fiberglass and styrofoam. Has a very thin layer of cement on them to keep them from deteriorating and give them a little bit more stability. One of the reasons they look so real is because our production designers spent such a long time actually weathering and aging them to make them look like they've been standing for decades. And also all of these little props, some of them are metal, some of them aren't, that look like they're made of metal. And they're all removable and interchangeable, so you can make this look like any city at any time frame. As we turn the corner, you'll see our forced perspective. That's an old movie trick that production designers use to make the street look like it's going on forever. Even though to us it looks like paint applies to the camera lens, and you'll notice when you get your pictures back, it really looks like a real thing. Even though we have the Empire State Chrysler buildings on the back of the forced perspective, we can remove that and make it look like any city at any time. In fact, that's one of the good things about working on a backlot, is that you can control your environment. For example, one time we had a production crew that made it look a little too realistic, came out and had to trash out the street with garbage and trash. They spent a long time doing it. Well, they went home that night for the shoot the next day, and the custodial crew that night came and cleaned the entire thing up. The next day they come onto the set and notice that the entire thing has been cleaned up, in fact, and so you can say our ties with the custodial crew are a little bit more open than before. Now we're going around the park that we went around to get into New York Street. This park can also be used for many different reasons. The town square to any small city, or the gateway to New York City's Washington Square. Whatever your movie needs or doesn't need.
Yeah, man, you look good.
Oh, that almost makes you dizzy.
Oh.
Hi, everybody. All right, for our newcomers over there, welcome to the second part of the Backstage Studio Tour and to our special effects water tank. My name's Chris, and at this time, I'd like for everybody to take a look at those overhead monitors. Now, as you can imagine, filming a full-scale naval battle can really sink the film's budget. That's why we use miniatures like the ones you see out here in our tank. But how do we film a miniature cutting through the ocean surface? Well, keep watching monitors and I'll tell you how we do it. If we leave the surface flat, our miniatures look fake, so we add waves. But if the waves are too big, our miniatures look like a toy in the bathtub. So to get around these problems, we use large fans to create small, fast-moving waves. And then we slow the scene down to give it the proper scale. Well, by adding smoke, sound effects, and music, our battle scene is just about complete. Now to complete the scene, we need just two things. And one of those things is explosions. And they're provided by our water cannons. And the other is an actor, and well, he's provided by you, the audience. How you doing, sir? What's your name?
Jay.
Jay? Well, Jay, you're now Captain Duck. Now, commander of the SS, totally sinkable. And our action-packed thriller, all hands on deck. All right, Jay, now here's the scene. While on patrol in the deepest, darkest regions of the special effects water tank, you spot a battleship off in a distance, right over here, Jay, and you run a torpedo through her midships. Great shot, Jay. Oh no, enemy plane at 10 o'clock. Duck, Captain Duck. Jay, what have you done? Man, I'm glad that's over with. Or is it? Well, Jay, it looks like we survived the enemy air attack. No thanks to you. But oh no, there's enemy torpedoes closing in all around. And Jay, they're getting closer and closer. Captain, you're a dead duck. Okay, now if everybody take a look at your overhead monitors, we're going to play back Jay's explosive performance in super slow motion. Jay, it's been a blast working with you. Ladies and gentlemen, how about a nice round of applause for our brave Captain Duck? All right, folks, that concludes the battle show, so I need the group on the right here to get your right arms up high in the air. I want everybody. And now move them from side to side. Yep, that's how you create a wave effect, as you wave goodbye to me and follow your tour guide Tony up those ramps and on into the special effects workshop. Bye-bye, everybody, and have a nice time here at the Disney MGM Studios. Now, the group over here on my left, well, you're not done yet, so get your right arms up. And you remember all those Disney signs you saw when coming to the park? Now, point over here. Right, because that's where you're going to go as you follow your tour guide Jim as we get ready for our storm sequence.
Giant squid was actually a monstrous marvel known as a full-size mechanical effect. And in the Poseidon adventure, a tidal wave created by large dump tanks rolled over a scaled-down model of an ocean liner. Well, here at the Disney MGM Studios, we have our own dump tanks and our own mechanical marvel, our pilot house. Now that's a mock-up or life-size recreation of one you'd find in a tugboat. And I see my assistant Chris has brought me a life-size volunteer. Hi, sir, what's your name?
Thomas?
Well, Thomas, it was nice knowing you. Yeah, you can go back here with Chris now, step inside, and spin the wheel of misfortune. Now, when Thomas is ready, we're going to create a storm sequence by using some heavy-duty mechanical effects. Oh, Thomas. Thomas, you want to put your hood up. Put your hood up and pull it real tight. Trust me, all right? Now, when our mock-up is rocked, we can simulate movement on the high seas. And since this is a violent storm, you can see that Chris is really shaking him up. Now, to make this even worse, I'm going to add some wind. Andy's going to add the rain, and Julie's going to add the rain, and you folks are going to help out too, because you're going to add the sound. So, at the count of 3, I want you all to yell dumping. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. And cut. Now, to complete shot here will be edited together with footage of our miniature tugboat. We were shot in a tank very similar to this using the same wind and rain effects. So if you take a look at your monitors, I'll show you how miniatures, mechanical effects, and our brave skipper come together in a high seas adventure. Considering we just dumped over 400 gallons of water over that pilot house, I'd say our brave skipper weathered this storm well. Everyone give him a big hand.
Somewhere used in 20,000 leagues under the sea. Back over this way, for those of you who've seen Turner Hitch with Tom Hanks, right up there, a model of Hooch's head. He was partly one scene of that film. And over here, we have the sinister robot, Maximilian, from the movie The Black Hole. Well, this is it, the special effects workshop. And this is where wizards of art and technology create the illusions that come to life on the big screen. Whoa, I said the screen. You get a little antsy sometimes around strangers. Watch your monitors, please. Well, first sketches are drawn, and then from these sketches, miniature models like that one are used to guides for full-size mechanical props. Now, these move like puppets. Now, all the camera operators use cables to move them. And in other cases, miniature models come to life by a technique called stop-motion animation. Now, in this process, the models photograph one frame of film at a time, while the off-screen animator moves slightly between each and every shot. Now, when these frames are projected back together at normal speed, the movement appears very fluid and real, like the scorpion in the scene from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Now, despite our giant ant friend over there, miniaturization plays a big part in special effects. And that's because it's easier to work with on a small scale, it's cheaper, and usually a lot safer. Watch out, everyone, that's a shrinking neck from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Duck! Boy, last week, Bob, one of our tour guides, he was staying right where you're staying at, and he didn't, yeah, you guessed it. Bob lives in this house now. See his little outfit? But now suppose the story calls for a set or location that's impossible to find or too expensive to build. Well, then we use one of the most amazing tricks of the trade called matte painting. Matte painting combines film and art to create a dramatic illusion. Watch your monitors one last time and see how it's done. Now, first the live action segments are filmed with actors in front of partial sets. And then later on, this footage is projected onto a large sheet of glass. Then an artist comes in, paints in the rest of that scene, and when those two elements are combined, the results are quite convincing. See the kids in that toy dinosaur? So you see the world of special effects. When you combine imagination and technical know-how, anything can happen. See what I mean? I know it's time to do the next part.
My name is Kayleen, and I'll be the director of this show. With me is my assistant director, Joanna, and our computer-controlled camera with our two brave volunteer actors right behind them. Let's give a warm welcome to Katie and Robbie. Now, in just a minute, they'll be starring in a scene from Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. But first, I'd like to explain how a blue screen, like the one behind me, can make people and objects appear to be someplace they're not. Watch your monitors. By filming people and objects in front of a blue screen, we can later make the blue disappear and replace it with any background we like. It was this process that allowed actor Bob Hoskins to drop into the cartoon world of Roger Rabbit. And now we're going to create a little blue screen magic of our own. Okay, you ready? You're on the back of this bee. You're really small. You're flying through the backyard about 100 miles an hour, okay? When I yell action, I want you to wave your arms, kick your legs, and be really scared, okay? You ready? Rolling? And action! Wave those arms, keep those legs. Oh, as you can see, our bee is stationary on the ground, but if you take a look in your monitors, you'll see that our camera is making it appear to fly. Keep going, keep waving those arms. It's a scary ride. Oh, God. Joanne, you want to set up for take two? You did everything just like I wanted you to do. You were waving your arms, you were kicking your legs. There's just one small problem. You guys are smiling. Okay, we're gonna do it again, all right? This time we're gonna make it a little more interesting. You're gonna reach your arm way up there, and you're gonna reach down and you're gonna grab her arm, all right, and save her life, okay? Is this your sister? We'll save her life anyways, okay? This is the movies. All right, your camera ready? And action! Reach up, reach up, reach up! Ooh, oh, the suspense! Oh, reach, reach, reach! Oh, and cut! Oh, wasn't that touching? Now, in the original movie, all of these elements were shot and assembled on film, but today we're using video, so you can see the results right away. So take a look at your monitors, and we'll play back the scene just like you'd see it at the movies.
I'm Gene Siskel.
And I'm Roger Ebert. You know, Gene, those are really pretty impressive special effects.
I disagree, Roger. I thought it looked like they were hanging onto a fuzzball in front of a blue screen. I like the acting.
Well, I like the kid on top.
It was the kid on the side of the B. That's acting.
So, a split decision on the B, but 2 thumbs up for the kid.
And 3 thumbs up from down here. Let's hear it for our B-movie stars. Okay, right now I'll ask you to follow your...
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thank you so much for sticking around. Please like the video, drop a comment, and subscribe for more great content. I have over 400 videos on the channel so far, and I upload on Mondays and Thursdays, so I ask that you please check back.